What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Go School Retro NBA, episode 35, hosted by me, Ari Hoops 84. Join me as I talk about one of the most storied basketball players in Knicks history, and probably one of the best point guards we've had in a long time, as I deep dive into the history before he even touched New York and before he even touched the NBA hardwood. Jalen, the Burner, Brunson. Guys don't know who Jalen Brunson is? I suggest you stay tuned and watch this. And for the people that do know Jalen Brunson, which most do, stay tuned because I'm going to leave you with the wealth of knowledge and things that you never even knew about JB before he even played on an NBA basketball court. Jalen Brunson was born in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And guess where he gets his basketball genes from? He's also the son of former NBA player and former Knick Rick Brunson, who was also a star at Temple University and a Philadelphia basketball legend. And he also has a sister named Erica Brunson. His parents also met in Temple University where Rick played basketball and Sandra played volleyball, where they fell in love. Rick Brunson spent 9 years in the association, and a few of them were spent with the New York Knicks. His father, Rick Brunson, was very instrumental in Jalen's career, where he helped build his mental fortitude with grueling practices and prepared him mentally for the tough, grueling process of becoming an NBA basketball player, which Jalen Brunson wanted to since he was a child. Jalen Brunson spent a lot of his childhood in NBA locker rooms and around a lot of NBA teams, being with his father as he was played for professionally in the NBA. So Jalen has a lot of experience being around locker rooms and players, and who would have thought, man, he would become the player he was today, man. But it all started from this very young age. Jalen Brunson was around his soon-to-be in the future as assistant coach at the time, Tom Thibodeau. Jalen lived in Cherry Hill, New Jersey before moving 7 times and settling in Lincolnshire, Illinois, where he would play in 2010 for the Stevenson High School. During his freshman campaign in 2012, Jalen Brunson was nominated for All-Lake County Honorable Mention for Stevenson High School. Stevenson High School would finish with a 17-11 record. During his sophomore season, Stevenson High School would start out 10-4, going on a 19-game winning streak. And mind you, this is in his sophomore campaign. And during that season, Jalen Brunson would lead them to the championship game in the Class 4A IHSA championship game versus future NBA players Jabari Parker and Kendrick Nunn. And mind you, these guys were 3-time defending champions. This was also a well-known school, Simeon High School, which featured future NBA Hall of Famer, in my opinion, Derrick Rose, who was very instrumental in Jalen Brunson's career since high school. And a lot of people don't know that Derrick Rose was very, very crucial in Jalen Brunson's game because he helped him a lot along the way. And Jalen Brunson has said a lot of beautiful things about Derrick Rose. And as you guys know, man, he was a true hooper as well. Jalen Brunson was quoted as saying that he was able to watch Derrick Rose grow as a player and into MVP. And he'd also speak of how humble and the hard work that Derrick Rose put into the game and actually motivated him to become a better player. Brunson, early on in the championship game against Simeon, got their backcourt in foul trouble in the first half, but unfortunately in the second half, he only held to 1 point in a 58-40 loss in the championship game to Simeon High School. They will go on to finish the year with a 29-5 record. JB will also be nominated to the Class 4A All-State second team while averaging 21 points per game. On February 21st, 2014, Jalen Brunson scored 57 points in a win versus Lake Forest High School. Jalen Brunson was getting buckets, man, just like he does now in the NBA, man, just microwave and catching fire. The burner. This marvelous performance by Jalen Brunson gave him the school's career and scoring record, personally for himself. So you could tell, man, this guy was on his way to stardom because he was doing this in high school and breaking records and setting school records and personal records for himself. JB was on his way to greatness. And get this, on March 21st, during a playoff game with Whitney Young High School, which was featured by future NBA player Jahlil Okafor, Jalen Brunson would set the record with 56 points in a playoff game. Unbelievable, man. JB, the special lefty, was getting buckets, man. The burner. Unfortunately, that game ended in a loss, 75-68 in the state semifinals. Jalen would finish that season averaging 26 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, and a 32-2 record. And to add another notch on his belt, he would finish 4th in voting for Illinois Mr. Basketball Player of the Year. The Burner was rated #1 point guard in ESPN by 2014. So this goes to show you, man, that he was getting recognized throughout programs, TV networks, and locally, and he was just nationally recruited. I mean, this guy was recruited by top schools, and I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But this goes to show you, man, how great of a basketball player Jalen Brunson was becoming a star before his own eyes. And on June 25th, after Jalen Brunson won a gold medal for FIBA under 18, his father was offered an assistant coach job for Temple University. After receiving tons of recruitments from top schools, JB narrowed his schools down to Villanova and Illinois, where eventually he would go on to play for the Nova Wildcats and legendary coach Jay Wright. The following season for Stevenson High School, they would start off winning 11 straight games before losing to Chaminade, led by Jason Tatum, another local basketball star and future NBA superstar, despite Brunson's heroic performance of 48 points. And get this, another notch on Jalen Brunson's belt. On January 28th, he was named to the McDonald's All-American game, where he was the second player out of Lake County to ever make it to that game. And get this, in March 2017, he would lead Stevenson High School into the IHSA Final Four with a victory over Riverside Brookfield High School. And to add another notch on his belt, during this game, Jalen Brunson would become the Lake County career record scoring holder. Brunson would also receive the highest votes for Illinois Class 4A Associate Press All-State Team, and would also take home, again, another award that he knocked down before, Illinois Gatorade Player of the Year. And for a third consecutive season, Jalen Brunson, the following season, would take Stevenson High School once again to the IHSAA Final Four. He would lead Stevenson High School to the top of the top, and that of a championship. And this would be the first school to win a championship in Lake County history, scoring 30 points in that title game in a 57-40 victory over Normal Community High School. And after being considered for Mr. Basketball Illinois Player of the Year, he actually won it that season, and it was well deserved by JB. The Burner. To add another notch on his belt, the following season Jalen Brunson won Mr. Basketball Illinois Player of the Year. Hats off to JB. The Burner. During his senior season at Stevenson High School, Jalen Brunson averaged 23 points per game, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds, as well as third team All-USA high school basketball team selection. Jalen would also finish number 16 in ESPN's Top 100, while also being ranked number 2 best point guard, right next to Isaiah Briscoe. And a fun fact that a lot of people don't know about Jalen Brunson, he was also voted by his peers as the best passer. Goes to show you, man, not only is he respected by his teammates, he was respected by all these players around the league, because he was such a great passer in high school. Upon entering his freshman year in college also, he was selected Freshman of the Year, and this was a selection made by the conference coaches. So he was well respected, man. And in the NIT preseason game, which was his first one versus Stanford, Jalen Brunson would score 18 points. On December 28th, he scored his career-high 22 points versus Penn. On February 28th, Villanova climbed to the top of the Associated Press poll. And to add another notch on his belt, during his freshman season, he was selected to the All-First Team Big East. And in 2016, in the NCAA Tournament Regional Finals versus Kansas, Jalen Brunson hit 2 clutch free throws, giving the Villanova Wildcats a 2-possession lead. And in the finals of that tournament, Jalen Brunson was a starter, where they would go on to defeat the North Carolina Tar Heels 77-74. During the following season of the 2016-2017 season, the Villanova Wildcats, led by Jay Wright, would start at the top of the Associated Press polls. The following day, Jalen Brunson would score a career-high 26 points in a victory over LaSalle. And Jalen Brunson was a big factor in the season-opening win versus DePaul. Jalen Brunson also was a huge factor in the season opening win versus DePaul. And once again, Jalen Brunson would show out, this time against a number 10 ranked school, Creighton, in a victory where he would score his season high 27 points. And the Nova boys came out that season with guns blazing, starting the season off 14-0 and 2-0 in conference play, while Jalen Brunson took home Conference Player of the Week due to his great performances. February 19th of that year, Jalen Brunson would notch his first career double-double with 10 assists and 22 points. JB was also selected to the first team All-Big East. Upon returning in his sophomore year, Jalen Brunson averaged 14 points per game and 4 assists. And once the 2017 draft class was finalized, Jalen Brunson was projected to be selected as an All-American. Prior to the season, he was projected to be the Big East Player of the Year and preseason All-American first team. And get this, JB also led them to another championship game and the battle for Atlantis in 2017, and taking home the MVP of that tournament as well. The burner. Jalen Brunson would add another notch under his belt, scoring a career-high 31 points in a victory over Temple. I saw that game and I remember it very vividly, with him scoring 22 points in that first half. Dude was a microwave oven, man. Kind of reminded me of like a Vinnie Johnson back in the day, man. Just, the guy couldn't be stopped, man. Elite footwork. I mean, just crafty in the paint, man. For a guy of his stature and his height, it was just amazing to watch, man. History would repeat itself because he would score 31 points, but unfortunately, it would be in a loss to Butler, as Villanova would lose its first game of the year. And you know what they say, 3 is a charm, man. And once again, for a third time in the season, he scored 31 points, but this time it would lead in a victory versus Marquette. And get it, man. Not only was JB a great basketball player on the court, but off the court, academically, he was thriving. He was selected all academic district, becoming one of 40 finalists for the 15-man all academic American. And JB was also named one of 10 finalists for the Naismith Award. During that 2017-2018 season, he was one of 3 unanimous All Big East selections. And to add another notch on this phenomenal basketball player's belt, Jalen Brunson was also named Big East Conference Player of the Year and Scholar of the Year. So not only was he book smart and ball smart, he was both. So to see a man like that not only hits the books, but actually puts in the craft in his game and the books, it goes to show you, man, how much of a phenomenal person Jalen Brunson is. And once again, just like in 2016 and 2018, Jalen Brunson reached the top of the mountain with the Villanova Wildcats, once again winning a national title. And that's number 2. So it goes to show you, man, how great this guy was, man. I mean, it's the impact that he has on the game. It's just a thing of beauty to watch, man. I remember watching that game, and it was just an all-around. It was a typical Nova, like a Nova like takeover. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, Eric Paschal. I mean, there's just so many great players on that team. I love Ryan Arcidiacono. I mean, that team was good, man. I watched them throughout that whole season, man. To watch them win another title was a thing of beauty. The burner. And after that season and winning the championship, Jalen Brunson declared for the NBA draft in 2018 and hired his first agent. And I remember when he went pro, not much was expected. I mean, he was drafted in the late first round and by the Dallas Mavericks. He didn't receive much playing time. I remember Dennis Smith Jr. got hurt and he filled in a little bit, but usually didn't really play that much. But when he did play, you could see the potential in Jalen Brunson was there from the jump. And I remember very vividly a few years ago when he actually started getting his chances, especially when Luka Doncic went out in the playoffs. Man, Jalen Brunson took over, especially in that Phoenix series, and the way he was torturing Devin Booker and the footwork. I mean, and as much as knock as JB gets on his defense, this man sacrifices his body. He's always in the top of drawing charges. And for a person of his stature and his height to sacrifice his body, and not only is that, he's a great teacher of the game, mentoring a lot of young guards, especially right now in the current Knicks squad. And I envision him as a diehard Knicks fan myself. I remember I was vouching for him that year after they lost to the Golden State Warriors. But Jalen Brunson in that playoffs put the league and put the NBA on notice of how great of a scorer he was, inside and out, crafty, jump shooting, inside the arc, footwork. I mean, blowing past top-notch level defenders, longer wings with wingspans of out to here. I mean, like the spider type of wingspans. And like, I just love the way Jalen Brunson plays the game. I mean, his heart, his grit, his determination is made for New York. I predicted in one of my tweets on Twitter. You guys can follow me on AriHoops84. I think Jalen Brunson is actually going to help bring us a title. And now that we got Karl-Anthony Towns and we have a really well-rounded team, we're just getting better and better every year. And with Jalen Brunson at the helm, there's a reason why he's labeled the captain this year, because he is the leader of this team. And I just love Jalen Brunson. I appreciate him as a New York fan. And I just want to give a special shout out to the Brunson family for taking the time to watch this. I put a lot of work and dedication into this. And I'm glad you guys are here to see it, man. I want to give Jalen Brunson his flowers. His story's still being written. And you guys don't know I'm a classic old school retro fan. So I pay homage to college and high school level and NBA players that are, not here anymore, that are out of the league. But I had to give Jalen Brunson his flowers because, it's just as a basketball fan, even before he came to New York, I really loved this game. I watched him in Villanova. I watched him in AAU and Stevenson High School. I watched him. And I could watch Jalen Brunson clips for days, man, on all levels. And I just want to give a special shout out to Jalen Brunson and his family. Thank you guys for tuning in to Go School Retro NBA, episode 35. Jalen Brunson, the burner, the king of New York, JB. I love you guys. You guys haven't subscribed, I suggest you do so. Hit the like button, share it with your friends. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Go School Retro NBA. You can follow me on Spotify too. Ari Hoops 84. Go School Retro NBA is also on Spotify. YouTube, Ari Hoops 84. Go School Retro NBA. Thank you guys, and I love you. Until the next episode, one love. The burner, Jalen Brunson, the crafty lefty. Thank you guys. One love.